What's up everyone, Mr. YouTube Gamer. Today we're going to take a look at the 10 most underrated maps in Call of Duty. Now, in order for a map to be considered underrated, it needs to fall under one of two categories. I'm going to include maps in the Call of Duty series that I think are absolutely fantastic, but just don't get the recognition they deserve. They're just overshadowed by maps like Nuketown, Terminal, Firing Range, all those classic, iconic maps that people usually consider to be the best that the Call of Duty series has ever had. I'm going to include some maps that people usually don't discuss, that usually aren't brought up in the same conversation, but they still deserve to be considered one of the greatest maps in Call of Duty history, even though people don't really talk about them. And another underrated map is a map that people consider to be terrible, but actually aren't as bad as people say they are. So those are two ways I consider a map to be underrated. We're not going to include any DLC maps in this video, because you can argue that every DLC map is underrated because a lot of people didn't get to play them. So for the purpose of this video, we're only going to include maps that were in the base game. No DLC. So without further ado, let's get started with the top 10 most underrated maps in Call of Duty history. Kicking off this list at number 10, we have Plaza from Black Ops 2, which I think is just an amazing map, but nobody talks about it. When people think about amazing maps in Black Ops 2, they talk about Raid, they talk about Standoff, you hear a lot about Hijack, but nobody talks about Plaza. But for me personally, I think it's one of my favorite maps in the entire game. The map is set in a giant shopping mall, hence the name Plaza, and it even has a nightclub in it too, which is really nice. And I just love the entire layout of this map. It's your traditional 3-lane map that we know and love from Treyarch, and it just flows really well. You see all these kills I keep getting. It's just, when you're on a roll, this map is really fun. And I would consider it to be one of my favorite maps in Black Ops 2. And I really wish in Cold War they just remade this map instead of giving us Miami, because that map is just awful. But overall, Plaza is a really solid map in Black Ops 2, but for some reason nobody talks about it. So it's definitely underrated. Then at number 9 we have Quarry from Modern Warfare 2. Quarry is a medium-sized map that focuses a lot on close-quarter engagements and medium-range engagements as well. Not really long-range. Is really not a great map for snipers because there are a lot of buildings in the map, but there's so many entry points that it's just so easy to locate a sniper and sneak up on them, flank them, and take them out. So what I really love about this map is that it's so much less friendly for campers than other maps that we see in Modern Warfare 2, like Estate and Afghan. I would say out of all the maps that we have in Modern Warfare 2, Quarry is probably one of the most friendly for rushers and people who don't like to camp, and that's what I really like about this map. But for some reason, people just didn't vibe with it back in the day. People consider this to actually be one of the worst maps in the game, which I just don't understand. I think Quarry is awesome. I would love to see it remade in a future Modern Warfare game because it was just so much fun. It flowed really well, and it's definitely underrated. And then coming in at number 8, we have Mission from Modern Warfare 3. It's another map that I think is really good but just doesn't get enough appreciation for some reason. You can see the layout right here, and yeah, it's a bit of a clusterfuck, especially around the center of the map. There are just so many lines of sight, so many ways to get shot. You're probably going to get shot in the back at least once if you play a game of Mission. And judging off of some of the maps we got from Call of Duty World War II, like USS Texas, where getting shot in the back is just such a frequent thing, this map has Sledgehammer written all over it. But while I wasn't a huge fan of USS Texas, I think Sledgehammer did it a lot better with Mission. I think the layout worked really well. I think it actually flowed pretty nicely. It was probably one of my favorite maps in Modern Warfare 3. I know everyone vibed with Dome. They liked, that little mall map, Arcaden, and some of the other maps in the game that people just consider to be just the best maps in the entire game, but you rarely hear about Mission. But I think Mission was also a really solid map, and I just had so much fun playing it back in the day. And yeah, the map was a bit of an unorganized mess, but that kind of was the thing that appealed to me. I'm sure a lot of you might disagree with me, but I thought Mission was a really good map, and is definitely underrated. And then at number 7, we have Airfield from Call of Duty World at War. Like Mission, this map is a very acquired taste because it doesn't flow like the other maps that we see in the game. And in the case of World at War, this is not really a map that has a lot of cover. It doesn't really favor short, close quarter engagements. This really is a medium to long range map. There's just so much open space in Airfield, and if you're not careful, it's really easy to get your head blown off by a sniper. But to me, that's what made the map so exciting, is being really careful, taking any cover you can find, making sure that you don't get shot by a sniper in one of the buildings. There's like 2 buildings, most of it's just open wide space though, and of course there's the crashed airplane in the middle of the map, and it's just so intense. I love this map so much. It's probably one of my favorite maps in the entire game, and I would love if they remade this map in Cold War or any other future Treyarch game, because all the remakes we get are just old maps that get remade over and over and over and over again. I'd like for them to do something different. I'd like for them to remake Airfield, but I know in the case of World at War, people vibed a lot more with Cliffside and Dome. Airfield's definitely not considered one of the better maps in the game by most people, but I consider it to be an amazing map, and I just have so much fun whenever it comes in rotation. I still play this game to this day, and Airfield is definitely some of the best fun that I've had in Call of Duty World at War. It's just such a unique experience that you don't get to have in other maps, and that's why I love it so much. And then at number 6, we have a map from another World War II Call of Duty game, but instead of World at War, it's Call of Duty World War II, and the map we're talking about is London Docks. In my opinion, this is the best map in Call of Duty World War II. Out of all the maps we got in the base game, this is easily the best one. St. Marie du Mont comes at a close second, but the other ones, in my opinion, are straight trash, or they're just not that great. USS Texas, which we talked about earlier, not a big fan of. Gustav Cannon was awful, and the rest of the maps were just average. But with London Docks, I actually had a lot of fun playing on this map, and it's definitely the best fun I've had in the entire game, besides the DLC, which, again, we're not talking about in this video. This is your standard 3-lane map in the Call of Duty series that we didn't really get a whole lot of in World War II, but we got it with London Docks, and it flowed amazingly. Domination especially was intense in London Docks, and the map just worked. It was really fun. I love how it supported a wide variety of engagements. You can snipe, you can just have an SMG, an assault rifle, a shotgun would even work. It just accommodated so many different play styles in the game that I consider it to be the best map in World War II and probably one of the best maps I've ever played in Call of Duty. And it's definitely one of the most underrated maps in all of Call of Duty because nobody ever talks about it for some reason. I don't know why. But moving on to number 5 on this list, we have Grid from Call of Duty Black Ops 1. Now, Black Ops 1, in my opinion, is the greatest Call of Duty ever made. It had so many amazing maps, but I feel like Grid was definitely overshadowed by maps like Jungle, Summit, Firing Range, and even WMD. But I think that Grid, out of all the snow maps we got, Grid is definitely the best one in my opinion. I think it's much better than Summit. I think it's better than WMD. It's just an amazing map. And kind of like London Docks in World War II, it also supports a wide variety of playstyles. You can snipe, you can have your AR, you can have your SMG, you can have a shotgun if you're in one of the buildings. And every match didn't feel like the same. In any game mode, it worked great in all the game modes, which is very rare for a Call of Duty map. Because usually you have some maps that are great for TDM, but suck for domination, or good for S&D, but are terrible for demolition. It didn't matter with Grid. Every single game mode just worked on this map. And I would go as far as to say that Grid is either my second or third favorite map in the entire game. I'm not sure which. I mean, Firing Range is really cool. I also love the original Nuketown, but Grid is something special to me, and I definitely consider it to be an underrated map because it's just so fucking amazing, but it doesn't get the recognition it deserves. So we have Grid at number 5. Number 4 is Metro from Black Ops 3. Apparently, Metro is one of the most hated maps in the entire game, and I just don't understand why. It's actually one of my favorite maps in the game, so I'm just really confused as to why people don't like it. I understand the layout of the map is a bit of a cluster, especially around the trains and, you know, right around the center of the map, but I love it. I love this map so much, and I always have a lot of fun whenever this map comes into rotation. It's just a really good map in my opinion. I know most people would probably disagree, but I absolutely love the layout of this map because it plays a bit differently than all the other maps in Black Ops 3 while retaining that core 3-lane design that we know and love from Treyarch. Yes, playing Domination in Metro was a bit of a pain in the ass, to say the least, but with Team Deathmatch and almost all the other game modes, I think it flowed really well. Yeah, if you just tried to cut through the middle, you were probably going to get shot because there are just way too many lines of sight, but if you do manage to get a good flank on your enemy from one of the other lanes, it's really satisfying when you do because you're unstoppable. It's just a really great feeling. I have so much fun on Metro whenever I go back and play Black Ops 3. I also love the aesthetic. It really fits in with the futuristic setting of Black Ops 3. So I really like the art design for this map. So overall, it looks nice, it plays nice, and it's honestly one of my favorite maps in the entire game. But for some reason, everyone else hates it. And then at number 3, we have another map from Black Ops 1, Crisis. Yeah, I put Crisis on my list as an underrated map, even though it's considered one of the worst maps in Call of Duty history. Well, I think after Modern Warfare 2019 and Black Ops 4, I don't even think that this map should even be in the running as one of the worst maps in Call of Duty. But I remember back in the day, people hated this map. People hated to play on Crisis. I just never had a problem playing with it. Yeah, it wasn't an amazing map. Sure it wasn't, but the amount of hate that it got made me feel like it deserves an entry on this list. I understand the map's a little big, it's a little spacious, and it's very friendly for campers compared to other Call of Duty maps at the time, but I didn't really have much of a problem with that because it added variety to the game. Because most of the other maps were either small to medium size, and you didn't have a lot of big maps. And I understand 6v6, you don't want any big maps, but Crisis is still a lot smaller than Stonehaven and Ghosts, and half the maps in Ghosts. You know, so we have it when maps are really just way too big. With Crisis, it really wasn't that bad. It wasn't a great map by any means, but it wasn't a bad map either. It made for some really intense moments in Search and Destroy, interesting engagements for domination. Overall, it played fine. But I put this at number 3 because of the amount of hate that this map gets that it really doesn't deserve. And I don't think there's any such thing as a bad map in Black Ops 1. That is the greatest Call of Duty of all time. None of the maps are bad, which you can't say for other Call of Duty games, like Modern Warfare 2019, which it's the exact opposite. Almost all the maps in that game are trash. So while Crisis isn't a great map, it's definitely not going to blow you away. It's not a bad map either, and I don't think it even deserves to be in the conversation among the worst maps in Call of Duty, but for some reason it is. I just don't understand why. And then coming in at number 2, we have Free Fall from Call of Duty Ghosts, another map that is so hated in the Call of Duty community, and I just don't understand why. I think it's actually one of the best maps that we've had in Call of Duty Ghosts, not counting DLC. I guess the Free Fall map might count as DLC because it was a pre-order bonus, but I think now everybody can play it regardless, so it's free for everyone who has the game, so I wouldn't count Freefall as DLC. I like this map. I had a lot of fun with this map. Yeah, the layout of it was a bit messy, but that was kind of the point. It made for a lot of interesting engagements because there were just so many lines of sight. Everywhere you go, there could be an enemy right around the corner, and it was very unique. And I'd rather play Freefall than all the big-ass maps we have in Call of Duty Ghosts, like Stonehaven, Prison Break, Stormfront. Freefall was easily a much better map than any of those. But for some reason, this map gets all the hate. I just don't get it. I love the setting of Freefall. It's a falling skyscraper, and how the map changes dynamically, how the map is actually falling as you're playing on it. I thought that was a really nice touch. Apparently, from what I heard, a lot of people got really bad motion sickness from the falling skyscraper in the map. I'll tell you guys one thing, I have the worst motion sickness out of anyone. Like, just being in a car for 10 minutes, if I'm not the driver, I get really sick. I get really sick with VR. I never got sick playing Freefall, so I'm not sure where that comes from, that people get sick from Freefall. I guess it's true, but I find that very strange. But I remember whenever Freefall came in rotation, I'd always be quick to vote for that map because most of the maps in COD Ghosts were straight trash. And this was one of the only fun ones. All the other maps ended in a timer, and you could barely find anyone, you know? So Freefall was a nice change of pace. Yes, it was a bit clustered. Yeah, it was a bit of a mess where enemies were all over the place, and they're just, it wasn't a usual 3-lane map. It was just all over the place. So I guess people do not like the layout of it, but still, I thought it was good, at least compared to all the other maps in COD Ghosts, except for maybe Strike Zone. So yeah, I understand the hate for Freefall and Call of Duty Ghosts, so it's definitely an underrated map, in my opinion. But it is not the most underrated map in Call of Duty history, because that title belongs to Cargo from Call of Duty Black Ops 2. Cargo is my all-time favorite map in Black Ops 2, and probably one of my favorite maps, definitely one of my favorite maps in the entire Call of Duty series. But for some reason, it feels like everyone forgot this map existed. Maybe that's just because Black Ops 2 is an amazing game and had so many awesome maps that people don't remember every single one of them. I don't know. But what I do know is that cargo is some of the most fun I've ever had in Call of Duty. Every single game mode just works perfectly in cargo. The layout of the entire map is very unique because while it is a 3-lane map, it has a circular area in the center where the shipping crates on the dock move back and forth, and the entire dynamic of the map changes slightly where you need to take cover in different spots and it just keeps changing. I think that definitely made for some more interesting engagements because of the map being dynamic and changing constantly, and it also added to the aesthetic of the map being in a dock where there are shipping crates that are moving back and forth, but it actually serves a purpose for the gameplay, which I really liked, and it just played fantastically in every single game mode. TDM, which is what you see right now, is a lot of fun. Search and Destroy was really intense. Domination worked pretty well. And to me, that's what an amazing map in Call of Duty is. It's a map that plays well in every game mode. It supports a wide variety of engagements, even though cargo is more centered towards long-range engagements. What I love about this map, compared to other larger maps that favor snipers, what I like about this one is that it's so easy to counteract the camper, because in other maps where they're big and it really favors snipers and there are a lot of long-range opportunities for snipers to shoot because the map is kind of big, and cargo is kind of a big map, but it works because you're not camping behind buildings. Yes, there is one building, but it's easy to get them in that one building. But most of the people who are camping with their sniper rifles, they're in the shipping crates. It's so easy for you to just flank around, to get up into the shipping crates and kill them. That's what I like about this map, is that it's really balanced in that regard. It's not like other bigger maps in BO2 like Drone, where you can easily camp in a building and there's very little that can be done, and it just doesn't flow very well. But I think cargo does it right, and it was a very unique concept that we really haven't seen in other maps since then. And I would love for the map to be remade in a future Call of Duty. I think that would be amazing, because cargo was a very unique map. It's some of the most fun I've ever had in Black Ops 2 playing on that map, but for some reason it's almost as if it's forgotten in Call of Duty history. So it definitely deserves the spot as the most underrated map in all of Call of Duty. But that's my list of the top 10 underrated maps in Call of Duty. Let me know what your top 10 underrated maps are in the comments down below. If there are any maps that you think should have been on this list or should not have been on the list, I definitely want to see what you guys have to say in the comments. If you liked the video, give it a like, and if you want to see more content, if you want to see more top 10 lists like this, subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subs before the end of the year, so let's see if you guys can help me accomplish that. That'd be really cool. But with that being said, hope you all enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.